Hello and welcome back to our podcast, Your Dog's Not Broken.
And neither are you.
It's the podcast where we don't try and fix your dog, but instead we try to pull back the curtain and give you a little bit of contextual information to try to make your life a little bit better with your dog. I'm Justine Shermans.
And I'm Kim Brophy.
And hopefully we've got a very fun episode in store for you today. So who was this week's caller, Kim?
I'm this week's caller, Justine.
Oh, yes, you were. You did call me.
Yeah, I did, and I had a little story. So, anybody with weak stomachs, you might want to just turn the volume down for a minute. Although
it does need to come with a warning. It does need to come with a warning.
It does need to come with a little bit of a trigger warning for gross. But I would wager that most of you guys have had a similar experience. Maybe not quite as gross as mine, but something similar. So we decided to make a topic out of it this week because we know that everybody at some point in some way, shape, or form steps in it. And that's what we're going to talk about. So let me tell you about my call to Justine this week. So I have had some contractors here in my house in the last few months working on some things, and they'll be out there all day while I'm working, right? And so that's all fine and good. And, I take my dogs walking in the back part of the yard that's fenced. It's separate from the front part of the yard where the contractors were. So the other day I was walking my dogs and I noticed them, as they often do, rolling in something. Okay. So, and Early was really getting into it with her long white coat, right? Really rolling in this. And when she came up from it, I was like, whoa, that's really gross. I don't know what that is. And it didn't dawn on me till after I spent a couple of hours cleaning this, what I thought was animal poo, out of her coat, that it might actually be the contractors. And the next morning, the next morning, I found a little bit of toilet paper next to it that they'd hidden, and I was so grossed out. Honestly, guys, I'm really glad I did not know whose poo it was until after I'd cleaned it off the dog, because I don't know if I could have gotten through it without yakking. So anyway, first of all, bad contractors. So they got a little bit of a phone call themselves. But also, not bad dog, even though you want to be like, what is wrong with you? This is really normal dog behavior to roll in poo, whatever kind of poo it might be that they find. And this is one of the hardest things.
Where did they get the toilet paper from? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I think contractors keep it in their trucks. I think they do. Yeah, because they're out working all the time. Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of introducing a whole new world of dogs. I almost feel like there needs to be a secret license.
I know. Let's just have a talk with you contractors about not pooping in people's backyards.
Please.
Can we just please? Yeah.
Yes. So we have decided to dedicate the whole of this episode to poo. What more fun could we have than talking about poo? Actually, we realized that we want to make sure that we're always bringing the fun, and there are many hilarious stories. I'm sure you have so many that if you have a dog, there's no way you can get away from stepping in it, getting it on your hands, or doing some kind of gross poo thing. I was so horrified when you told me that somebody pooed in your back garden, honestly, because that just is very crazy to me. But I had the same story, didn't I? When I lived in New York, my very first dog, I used to live by the river there, and I used to walk him down by the East River. And he did the same thing, but he was a black cocker. And I didn't notice until we got all the way home. And I was like, oh, what is that? And it was hidden in the underside of his very long ear. And of course, it was just before work, and I had to get ready. I was always, running late as usual. And I had to shower him off. And it was only when I picked him up, because I wanted to bring him through the lobby of the apartment building and not be disgusting. I don't know why I felt like I needed to pick him. I picked him up and I got a massive whiff of it. And I was like, that is not dog poo. I thought it was dog poo. I thought it was dog poo, but it wasn't. And it is so gag worthy.
Oh, my Australian Shepherd did it years ago when we were camping, and she found some. Camping is actually kind of like a common way that they find the human poo, right? For people that don't know to bury it. So yeah, super gross. Hope that never happens to any of you guys, but your dog is bound to roll in some kind of poo.
So let's just get into a bit of the sciencey, nerdy stuff. Why are they rolling in poo? I've heard People talk about scent masking. Is that the main reason? Are there other reasons? Give us the ethological spin, Kim.
Yes, yes. There's an ethological spin on everything, isn't there?
Yes.
Justine knows. She's used to me being like, and here's how we would think about this through the lens of ethology. I won't go really far down. I got dung again.
You got
on the
dung
poo
again.
episode.
You did. You got dung. Can you just explain quickly what ethology is?
Oh, yes. Okay. So ethology is the study of animal behavior in their natural environment from a biological perspective. And applied ethology, which is my background, is particularly studying animals through that same lens of ethology, right? That biological perspective, but particularly animals that are under some kind of direct human control, like pet dogs or zoo animals or farm animals and stuff like that. So that's the nutshell.
Okay, so tell us, now we know what ethology is. Tell us why dogs do this. Why do they do such a gross thing?
So there's a variety of reasons, and at any given point, we don't really know which one, or maybe a variety of them are all going on for a particular dog in a moment. But so dogs roll in poo in order to get that olfactory information, that scent information on their bodies. So that they can take that back to
that's
olfactory.
That's the big word of the week.
Smell. Yeah, word of the week, nerdy word of the week. So their brains are dominated by olfaction, smelling. Ours are dominated by sight, right? And so they get so much information about their world through smells. So that's one of the reasons why poop has so much to tell them about other animals, what kind of animal, how that animal's feeling, whether they're stressed, whether they're territorial, whatever's going on, right? That all kinds of information can be in that poo. So one of the reasons is that dogs might take that scent information back to other social members. They might also be hiding their own scent from others, whether that be other individuals vying for territory or things like that. So that both of those things could be reasons. And then of course there's a lot of other reasons dogs like poo in general. They like to eat it. We'll get into all that stuff. Also super freaking gross. In addition to rolling in it.
No, but so do they like going for the smelliest thing?
I don't know. I think you'd have to ask the dog. I think what's interesting to them isn't necessarily what's strongest. It might be, but it also just might be interesting. It might be fascinating. It might be like, ooh, wow, a different kind of dead bug. Let me make sure that I go share this with my housemates by coming in and smelling fabulous. I mean, I wonder, it seems to be like a calling card of sorts. They definitely seem quite thrilled with themselves when they've rolled in crap. And, we think it's disgusting. A lot of you have probably tried to cover it up with perfumey, soapy things, and dogs think all of that stuff is disgusting. We think it's great. Actually, that's the number one thing that my Pyrenees hates is anything soapy. If you get near her with anything soapy, she's appalled and offended. But the human poo, that was cool, right? That was fabulous. So there's, I think, actually probably a lot that we don't know about why they roll in poo. We've got some theories, but there's probably a lot of other functions for that behavior evolutionarily.
And it's just so funny how some dogs really love to roll in it, and you can see the owners, it's hilarious on the beach here. I'll see people chasing after them. No, I know what he's gonna do. They can see it coming, the dog sprinting off, having a good sniff for a little bit too long. The front legs go down a little bit and they're going in for the roll.
The head starts to turn.
Exactly. They're like, no. And for the first time, I have Juice is not a roller in anything, and I'm going to touch wood just in case he decides he's going to change. But he's nearly 4, so I feel like that's not coming down the pike. It's just not his thing. So, but I have had every single dog that I've had has absolutely loved it. The stuff I have cleaned out of ears is revolting. Revolting. Okay, so we've covered rolling. What about eating?
Yeah. So there's a number of other reasons for that too. So, or potential reasons. So, first of all, dogs evolutionarily have not largely, but partially as part of their diet consistently throughout history survived off of poo. So that could be...
Poo? Wait, whose poo? Whose poo are they?
Well, so they're partially scavengers as well as hunters, right? And so there can be some really nutritious poo out there in nature, but particularly strangely, human poo is a part of their evolutionary history diet because when dogs first became dogs, They were making good on their living being around humans, camps, and settlements. And so what they were getting basically like a free ride of lunch with was our
Lunch.
leftovers and
Lunch.
our waste, right? Our actual waste. And so there can be some great nutritious value that can keep them, moving and well fed and all of that good stuff as part of their diet. I don't think any dog is ever completely lived off of poo historically, although maybe there's a story out there. But yeah, it's part of their diet evolutionarily as scavengers. And
That's pretty handy
yeah.
if you don't have a toilet, like a flushing toilet system back in the day.
Oh
The
yeah.
humans were probably quite grateful that the dogs just cleaned up. I mean,
Yeah,
it is
I've even heard people
nasty.
say that they would have dogs like lick babies' bums because they didn't have
Again,
diapers,
no,
right?
and
So
no
I
running
don't know if that's
water.
just a myth, but like I'd believe it. Humans thinking, sure, that's great. If you want to lick that, fine. And then my baby's bum is cleaner, fine.
Oh my God. We did
I
say that
know.
was a trigger warning on this episode.
I know, right? It's really
We
gross,
discussed it.
guys. I know, I know.
And forget like that
Um,
nice cream that you put on a baby's bum to make sure that it
right.
doesn't get any kind of like itchy or infection. Now we're just going to have a dog lick it.
Yeah, it's really
Lovely.
gross. I know. But they also might be licking or eating poo because they have a nutrition deficit, right? There may be
Right.
something that they're lacking in their diet. Also, definitely there's been some evidence that like environments when puppies are really young in their nursing environment, that neonatal kind of period, that if they don't have enough things in their environment, or even during that critical socialization period as they're getting more playful and interacting with different objects and stuff in their environment, if they're in a really restricted kind of barren environment, sometimes they'll play with and eat the poo because it's the only thing that's there. So some dogs actually kind of develop a disorder called coprophagia. Many of you may have heard of that. Yay! And
Another big
yeah,
word,
yeah,
coprophagia.
yeah,
We've
yeah.
got
And that,
olfactory, coprophagia. We're
I know,
knocking it out of the park this
I
week.
know, really.
All of the people listening to this podcast are just going to be so blurting out this language now, getting some
Yeah, their
super
friends will
bonus
really think
dog
it's cool when
nerdy
they
points.
blurt out coprophagia at the dinner party.
I've
Um,
had two puppies that have eaten their own poo. And my Nellie, my little, well, she was like my second spaniel. I remember once she pooped, turned around so fast and sucked it up like a hot dog. Again, so gag worthy. It was absolutely horrendous. But she
have
did
you
it all
seen
the
the
time
dogs that follow their friends around and do that, and
and
they
do it.
wait for their
Yes, I
friend to
have.
poo and then catch it on the way out?
Can you imagine if we did that?
Gross.
Hey, can I come in the bathroom with you? So disgusting. But
Yeah,
is
no
there
thanks.
anything in the I've heard rumors that sometimes it's the puppies are mimicking what the mom does to clean up the behavior. Do you think there's any merit in that?
I mean, possibly. That's not like outside the realm of possibility, but I think a lot more dogs would do that if that was the case, right? Like if it really was that much of a like, well, mom's doing it, so I'll do it. I think frankly, when the stage where the mom is doing that, the puppies aren't really probably very cognizant of what she's actually doing. They're more
Yeah.
experiencing the some sensations of being bathed by her. But as they get older, mom doesn't do as much of that anyway. And they start grooming themselves. So I think for most dogs, probably not. I think it probably in some cases is really a product of like common puppy keeping practices where we're trying to keep a nice sterile environment with the mom, after she's had her litter, and maybe there's just like not a lot in there. I think most really excellent breeders these days obviously know better and they have much more enriched environments. But I think a lot of dogs are growing up in circumstances that are pretty barren and there's not a lot there. And I think that can create kind of that compulsive relationship with poo.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can say if your dog is rolling in poo or your dog likes to eat poo, they are not broken.
No, it's weirdly
They are
normal. And
not
if you're going to
broken.
have a dog, like, you need to accept that like some of these things are kind of baked into the cookie of who dogs are.
As gross as it is. And
Yeah,
it
it's
is
really
really
gross.
nasty. Okay, so hang on.
Hold on, guys. Justine's gagging.
All of a sudden do feel a bit queasy.
I don't know why.
No.
Subject
Okay.
matter.
Thank goodness I can't smell any poop here. Have you ever done that though? Stepped in poo and then got in your car and didn't realize, and then you're driving and you're
Yes.
like, wow, this car smells so bad. What is it? And then you realize
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
And if you haven't got to that point yet, you haven't had your dog long enough, or you haven't had enough dogs, because it is
Because it'll
coming for you.
happen.
It's coming
Yeah,
for
it'll
you at some
happen.
point.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Next thing I wanted to talk about, dodgy stomachs. So
Mm.
the pooping and the brain connection. So the stomach and brain connection. I think it's really interesting, isn't it, how we can look at the kind of poo that our dog is generating and get an insight as to what's going on, not just biologically, but also psychologically as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I think a lot of dogs do have dietary issues, and that may be why they're having stomach problems. But a lot of dogs get like stress colitis.
Yep.
A lot of my clients' dogs would always have a stress poo whenever their clients brought them to the behavior center, because it happened anytime they put them in the car. And that doesn't even have to mean that they don't like where they're going. They could just get so excited that it happens, right? We all have that gut brain connection, and a lot of dogs, we're going to notice that they seem to have some kinds of, um, problems with their poo as a result of certain stressors in their life.
Yeah, and actually the other piece of that I didn't know until a lot later on, I have a well, I still have him, my little Ziggy, who's my dog in America. He had severe, or he still has, IBD, which is inflammatory bowel disease, which is like colitis. It's really intense. And actually,
Mhm.
we nearly lost him. It was really severe for him. He was so bad at the point that his poo was so bad that I couldn't walk him through town, because I didn't know how it was going to come out, and without like a hose to like wash it down. It was too embarrassing. You couldn't pick anything up with a poop bag. It wasn't like that. But the thing that I found out in all of the research that I did, trying to help him and try to ease his gut, because it was in dire straits, is that it's like a constant feedback loop. So we know when we get stressed or when we're anxious, that might be reflected in what our bathroom product. Come on, give me another word for it. Bathroom. Our
Oh, I
poop
think
looks
that's a
like our
wonderful
poop,
word.
our bathroom product, what our poop looks like. But what I didn't know until a couple of years ago is that if you actually are unfortunate enough to have some kind of intestinal gut issue, that actually can go back and create anxiety. So it goes the whole way around the loop, which I did not know.
Actually, yeah, that was one of the things I've learned in recent years as well. And that's not just true for digestion issues, but like anything that's creating like pain or discomfort sends a signal back to your brain of distress, right? And so it's like we're more fearful, more anxious when we're in some kind of pain, when anything's wrong with our body, right? And that makes sense from a kind of ethology perspective too, because we're more vulnerable if there's something wrong with our bodies, you know?
Yeah, he was quite an anxious dog. And so I was like, I wonder whether the anxiety is causing the belly issues, or the belly issues are causing the anxiety.
Yeah.
Um,
And at a certain point, it's really hard to know. It just becomes a like
yeah.
chicken egg cycle, you
Yep.
know? Also, it is something worth pointing out as the mom of a son who has Crohn's disease, and my brother has Crohn's disease, and IBD has always run in my family. Um, we've really seen an uptick of all kinds of IBD in our species and in pets. And I do think that, I'm going to pass this over to veterinarians and nutritionists. There's a woman named Amber Batson people should look into if they really want to go down a nerdy rabbit hole about everything dog gut related. But personally, I've really kind of come to the conclusion that a lot of the processed foods can be part of it. So like that's another thing is most of our dogs' foods are processed, and we feed them a lot of processed stuff in general. And that can just add insult to injury. I don't think it's the whole story. Obviously, there's a lot of different things that are going on when a dog is having digestive issues. But of course, that makes our role as their stewards and the ones responsible for picking up that poo much more stressful, because whatever their poo is, we're probably going to come up all close and personal with it, unfortunately.
Absolutely. And so creating the best kind of environment for them. So whether it's paying attention to the food that they're eating, paying attention to their stress levels, all of that stuff, we can really help them by just noticing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that made a massive difference in my world with Ziggy. We just tried to keep his stress levels down really low, just keep him away from things that he absolutely hated and would
Mhm.
trigger him. And he's doing great. That's the
Yeah.
great thing. Not on medication anymore. Diet definitely helped for sure, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, Okay, so we've talked about rolling, eating, dodgy stomachs, and now I think we have to talk about the ridiculousness of the fact that we may be the only species on the planet that picks up somebody else's poo to dispose of it. Is that correct?
As far as I
We
know.
we pick it up. We actually pick it up in our hands. Well, not actually in our hands. There is a bit of plastic separated. Hopefully, sometimes I miss though. And then you get that bit on your finger, and you're like, "Now, what am I going to
Oh,
do with it?" People are looking at me, and then I'm like, "Do I wipe it on a stone or on a leaf?" And then, anyway, so I think it's hilarious that we pick up our dog's poo and they watch us.
yes. And there's like a whole product line around this, which is hilarious. Like if you think of your average person walking their dog, they've got the little poo bag dispenser on their
Yes,
leash or on their hip,
a
you know.
roll. Like we've got 700 poos, mind you. If you live with Ziggy, you did have 700 poos, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then some of us, depending on their dog, if it's like Ziggy having like, not the perfect poops, then we've also got like little doggy wipes with us. Like I had so many clients who would carry those around
Hang on,
and like,
wait. I'm not going to ding you. I just want to know to wipe their bottom after they did a
oh
poop.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, they literally have doggy wipes. Like you would have wipes for babies. And they're for doggies. And so dogs that are having continence issues or digestive issues or whatever, I had a number of clients that carried those around too,
I
along
mean,
with the poop bags.
it's actually really smart, but it does feel like going back to having kids again, where you've got to carry
Yes.
the diaper bag and then they've got some snacks in there, and just in case. Oh my
Right.
God, I
Right.
didn't even know about that. I've
Oh
never heard
yeah.
of that.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's kind of funny, right? Like if you think about it, dogs must think like some really interesting things about humans these days. And it is like, it's of course, by the way, we're totally advocating for like, pick up your dog's poo. Don't leave it in your
Please
neighbor's yard.
pick up
Don't
your
leave it
dog's
on the
poo.
trail.
But I was going to say, pick up your own poo. If you're going to somebody else's house, pick up your poo, pick up your dog's poo. Please just pick up the poo.
Pick up
Nobody
the
wants to
poo.
walk in it. It's
No,
gross.
no. And there's so many dogs now. There's way more dogs than there's ever been, in the United States anyway. And I know a lot of other countries. And so like with so many pet dogs out there, like it's important to pick up the poo. Dogs think it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I would think it was weird. Like they must wonder, like, why are you so interested in my poo? Are you collecting it? Like, what are you doing with it? I mean, our dogs see us actually. I was just thinking other dogs must think their owners are like donating it somewhere by putting it in these bins all the time. Like, what do they think they're doing with it and putting it in the trash? But there's so many important reasons they leave it there, and they're selecting where they deposit this. And then here we come along and we ask them to wait while we're picking it up. And then we carry around this little warm bag of poo, and then we deposit it in the nearest bin, or our own bin, if we don't want our neighbors to get mad at us for leaving it in their bin. But like my dogs, we pick up the poo with a pooper scooper and then throw it over the fence. I hope she sees some logic, my Pyrenees, in
Hang
this
on, not into
because
somebody else's garden.
oh no, this is
Okay.
our own property outside, our own fence
That
line.
needed clarifying.
Yes, no, not into my neighbor's
Mrs.
yard.
Jones absolutely loves Early's poo splattered on her patio.
Yeah,
It's
she
her
has a
favorite
garden.
thing.
Yeah, it's the nutrition, it's fertilizing it, so I'm doing that for her. No, it's still in my property. But yeah, it's really bizarre. Like it's appropriate culturally. It's part of the world we're living in today. You should pick up your dog's poo, but it is also weird for us and weird for them that
Yep.
we do that. I can't imagine what their thought process is on that.
Well, the weird thing that I was going to say was, have you ever noticed how if you walk your dog in public, you see people that have gone to the trouble of picking up their dog's poo in a plastic bag, tying it in a knot, and then just leaving it?
Leaving it.
What?
I don't get it.
I mean, sometimes actually, to be fair, I might, if I was going on a long walk and I knew there wasn't going to be a bin, I would leave it and then come back and put it
Sure.
in the bin, right? But I'm going to put it back. So I don't ever understand when you find that mystery bag that's been there for 3 weeks that's just covered in
Right.
snow or rain, and someone's just like abandoned the poo.
I think they forgot.
Is that what it
If
is?
they bothered picking it up, I think they probably meant to drop it off and then they forget when they walk by.
There's
the
quite
poo.
a lot, though, aren't there? There's quite a lot of those abandoned
Yeah.
poop bags.
Yeah,
Um,
I know.
The other thing I was going to say that I needed to phone a friend and ask whether I was a bit weird that sometimes in the winter when it's really cold, I quite like carrying warm poo.
Oh, that is weird, Justine. You know what that reminds me of is when I came to visit you and you fall asleep with a water bottle. And
Oh.
now all I can think about is you just need a warm bag of poo to fall asleep
hot
with
water
instead of
bottle, not just a bottle of water,
Not hot.
like a bottle of Evian or something, like an actual hot water bottle, like a bladder, like a hot bladder.
It's disturbing. It's
Yeah.
disturbing.
Okay.
You
I'm
know,
a freak.
actually, that reminds me of something else about hot poo.
Go
So
on.
anyone, you guys, they're going to be like, I don't know about this podcast. They spent a
Yeah.
whole episode talking about poo. So you guys know the smell of baked poo when you've been putting the bags in the garbage can for days in the summer, and then you open it up to put more trash in or more poo in. The smell of baking poo in a garbage bin is to me one of the worst smells on the face of the planet. So I just want to let people know there are dog composting bins you can get for your yard, so that if you want to, you can actually get the compostable doggy poo bags and you can get a compostable bin so that you don't have to experience that lovely smell. It's like the diaper genie. It's the same kind of smell. It's just not a great smell.
I so needed one of those because I can't believe we've been talking about doing this podcast and I forgot to tell you my most horrendous poo story that happened literally
Oh,
2
I
weeks
can't
ago.
wait.
Are you ready?
I
You
am.
know that disgusting bin of hot steaming poo that you were just talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think this through, but I bought like a swing bin, a small swing bin for my garden. Actually, it was for inside and I didn't use it inside. So I was like, I'm going to use it for poo outside. I'll just collect the poo in it. So I was taking the pooper scooper and picking up the poo from my back garden and putting it in this bin. And then, of course, I live in England. It's actually been a really hot summer, but it's rained as well. And the rain just went into the swing bin liner. And you know what I mean by swing bin, right? Yeah.
No.
Oh, a swing bin is like, like a flappy top bin, that's
Oh,
got like
okay.
the
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hello, it's not waterproof. I don't even know what I was thinking. It's really like Ministry of Crap design on my part. Anyway, so I put all the poo in and then realized on my dumping like number 7 that it had now filled up with water. So now I have a poo soup. So I'm like, oh my God, how do I actually get rid of? How have I not told you this? I haven't told you this. It will haunt me. I'm so sorry. Now I'm telling everybody else. So I was like, how am I going to get rid of this? I know I'm going to get a really great bin liner and I'll just pour the whole lot into the bin because I'm not going to put it down the drain because that felt like that was going to be bad. Then I thought, should I double bag the bin liner just to make sure that I just didn't want that down, like, in my garden. I have a small garden, so it would be, apparent. I decided to not double bag it because I'm me and I like to do things fast. Of course, I poured the bin into the bin liner and it broke.
Oh no.
And I had poo water, poo soup all down the side of my house. And it was, I can't even tell you, like, I had every cleaning product down on the gravel, like on top of it, vinegar, all sorts of stuff. I was making it like a cleaning product soup after that. But that really will haunt me forever. And now I've haunted all of you. So,
Well, and just imagine, just so that everyone can have a nice visual of this possibility, what if it had been Ziggy?
oh, no.
Then it would have been poo stew, not even soup. Okay, they're so done with
And
this
we're done.
line of
We are done.
conversation.
I think
We
we're
get
done.
it, guys. Okay.
Okay, so we promised you that we'd give you a hack every
Yeah.
week. And so this week's hack, even though most dogs don't eat their own poo necessarily, we're going to give you the poo party hack, which is to help you if your dog is actually looking to eat their own poo, I should say. Or Kim, you brought up another good point.
Yeah, if you just don't want to step in it in your own yard. So, like, for instance, we have very healthy grass in our huge field of a backyard. And so once we're on like a few days before it gets mowed again, the grass is so high, I can't see the poo. So I risk stepping in the poo. So it could also be useful for that.
And since we know dogs experience the world through their nose, they're actually really good at detecting where it is because it's really smelly as well. So the idea is your dog poops, and the second they poop, you're like, woohoo, amazing. And you bring out the treat, something that they really, really enjoy, takes the focus away from them turning around and eating it and puts the focus a little bit back on you. And then the next step of it is once you've got them kind of looking at you and knowing that this party is going to happen every time they poop, you can then encourage them to look at the poop because they're going to pay attention to it because they want to eat it. And then you're like, woohoo, just for looking at it, you then feed them again. So as time goes on, you can actually get them to go out into the yard and be like, where's the poop? Go find the poop. And then as soon as they find it, they don't actually want to eat it as much because they know something really great's coming just for detecting where it is. So it's simple, but it worked like an absolute charm.
No, it's fun. And honestly, you're going to get some other bang for your buck out of that because you're doing kind of a cooperative task with your dog. They're doing a little bit of scent work, even if it might be gross scent work from your perspective, using their nose and feeling like they have a purpose that they're valued for. So you're going to get some also great social currency deposit in that relationship bank account.
Social currency. This is just a reminder because we did actually talk about this in the very first episode. So tell us what social currency is again. If I can say it, social currency.
Well, all relationships involve compromise. And I know we'll continue to come back up on that theme, right? But like, in other words, we ask dogs to do a lot of things, and those are withdrawals from the bank account, right? When we're like, I need you to do this. And, these are my expectations, my requests, the compromises I'm asking you to make, etc. And the deposits in the bank account where we're building up that social currency in the relationship are things that we're doing for them or that they perceive are for their benefit, on their behalf, right? Where they see that we've got their back, we're giving them good information, we're taking care of their best interest, all that good stuff. So, yeah, doing something like that and having that nice cooperative engagement with them is some social currency in the bank account. And you're making them feel like they're good for something that you might have thought was bad. And so sometimes you guys might find that what we're doing is we're reframing normal dog behavior that we're used to thinking of as like bad dog behavior or behavior problems or stuff we hate. And we're trying to help you understand that it's just maybe natural dog behavior and to reframe it and reapproach it in a way that allows the dog to be a dog, but solves the problem at the same time.
And allows us to enjoy dogs for who they are rather than who we kind of want them to be.
Exactly.
Money in the bank account. Okay, great. Yeah. So the post-it pivot for this week is where you take out your post-it notepad and you think about something that we've talked about today and you make one small change, either for yourself or for your dog. And that one small change is going to go up on your fridge and see how it changes life for you all. Really small changes can make a really big difference. Your post-it pivot could be next time you have a project is get a Portaloo.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that might be
Kim's takeaway. It's get a porta potty and stick it in the yard till they're done.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Worth every penny.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this week. We'll be back next Tuesday with Your Dog Is Not Broken.
And neither are you.